Welcome to episode number 287 of the Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for all of you marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. You can find us just by searching for Beyond Social Media Show. We are recording on November 3, 2019. A lot of things to talk about this week, including online political ads, climate trail, space selfie, Yahoo Groups, Facebook unrest, Minnesota Rokkrs, Hot Dog Boy, McDonald's fail, choice Amazon reviews, OK Biden, and a lot more. And BL, you kick it off with the best story of the week. And what do you got?
Well, this is one we need to talk about. What happened this week was, in my opinion, very brave of Twitter. Jack Dorsey announced a course on Twitter in a series of tweets. He said, "We made the decision to stop all political advertising on Twitter globally. We believe political message reach should be earned, not bought." That decision puts a lot of eyes on Facebook, and several 2020 presidential candidates called on Facebook to do the same. I guess also Google and YouTube. And there was a tweet from Hillary Clinton who said this is the right thing to do for democracy in America and all over the world. And then she said, "What say you, Facebook?" So Mark Zuckerberg doubled down on his allowing any kind of political ad. But during a quarterly earnings call the other day, he said he'll continue to assess whether or not we should carry these ads. And, you know, the problem is, when the ads are banned, politicians, including the big kahuna, can post lies and conspiracy theories on Twitter for free, and of course they can reach their base. And today, the New York Times has a very interesting supplemental section on how Trump, I can't say his name, how Trump uses Twitter, and it's really fascinating. I'll post a link to it, but you know, he will continue to reach his base, and his base will continue to spread his messages, whether they're not in ads. Whether other candidates can do the same remains to be seen. So, you know, there's an argument that some of the lesser candidates will lose the opportunity to reach a targeted and larger audience. Who knows? I guess that remains to be seen. But you have the other side of the coin, so I think it would be interesting to hear that.
Yeah, I do. So I don't know that Dorsey's move is necessarily courageous in as much as it is strategic and savvy, because it's a direct shot at Facebook, and it puts them, it's an easy earned media win. You know, It's an easy story to write. This is a great thing that Twitter does. I'm not saying that it isn't a great thing that they've done, but I think it's more in Twitter's own self-interest to pull this move than it is necessarily a brave thing for them to do. I think the political advertising money that they're going to lose by deciding not to accept political advertising is relatively small. Agreed. Yeah.
Compared to Facebook, which makes much more money on political advertising, and which has obviously bigger reach. But you know, nonetheless, I think it sets a precedent that others are going to have to follow.
It is, and it does put pressure on the others to decide what they're going to do. And you know, the question will all be asked until they give us a sufficient answer for it is, are you going to stop doing this as well? But that said, the Washington Post ran an opinion piece by Ellen Weintraub, who's the chair of the Federal Elections Commission, who is arguing that we shouldn't eliminate political advertising online, but should stop the practice of micro-targeting for political advertising. This seems to me a much better solution than stopping political advertising, than not accepting political advertising across the board.
So everybody would see all of the ads?
Exactly. So because the micro-targeting of the ads is what makes Facebook advertising so effective and why people use it. And it's great for for doing commercial advertising, but in the political context, it's corrosive. The reason that it's corrosive is because there's dark advertising that is targeted only a very small section of the electorate, and it's very effective that way. But also, in a democracy, our political conversations need to be across. Everyone needs to hear them. If you're not hearing what a candidate is saying, if only a select section of the populace is hearing that, then there's no way for you to respond to what they're saying. So her argument is that eliminating micro-targeting of political ads helps remedy the way that these ads are undermining our politics, because there's counter speech. Because if it's in the public, then you have the ability to counter what is being said. So her argument is that it enhances transparency and accountability, because political advertisers have a greater incentive to be truthful in their ads because everybody's seeing it. And if everybody's seeing it, they can be called to account for what they're advertising. She says it will deter and flush out disinformation, because malicious advertisers are unlikely to say to an entire state what they are willing to say to a tiny segmented audience that they're trying to reach. And then she also says it will help unite us, because political advertisers would have to appeal to a wider audience. Her solution is that you would allow no more specific than one political level of targeting below the election. So if you're running for governor in Minnesota, your internet ads could run across Minnesota or targeted to individual counties, but that's it. If you're running for a Minneapolis city council race, you could only target people in the entire city or the council's district. And if you're running presidential ads, then you could target 2 levels below. So in an entire state or a county or congressional district. So that makes a lot more sense to me. It doesn't prohibit political speech or paid political speech, but it makes it all in the open, so we can all see what everybody's saying.
Well, it's all out in the open, and we're tortured by it on television and radio. And I am all in favor of no political advertising at all on any medium, just as they have in Canada and Britain. They do not have political advertising. You are not subjected to this horrific, mean, nasty, horrible stuff that we have to see every 30 seconds during any time we listen or watch on TV. So I'm all for getting rid of it. And anybody who wants to can reach whoever they need to on Twitter in tweets.
With micro-targeting, though, it isn't all in the open. It's not, because we're not seeing all the stuff that is being targeted to people who aren't us.
Right, but so that's why I think there should be none. Let's just not have none.
But how do you draw the line then between political candidates who are running for office, their advertising, versus PACs, which exist? I mean, so unless you're going to ban
that's
PACs,
still political advertising,
or an advocacy group, a nonprofit, Planned Parenthood. They can run political advertising. Do you want to keep Planned Parenthood from running political advertising?
That's not political advertising.
Sure,
that's
it is.
Advocacy.
Well, what's the is it?
They're not running for office. We can't vote for them.
They can advocate for a party, or they can advocate for a candidate, even if they don't.
Great, let them do that.
That's political advertising.
Let them do
I'm
that
just saying,
openly.
Micro-targeting, eliminating micro-targeting lets political conversation, paid political conversation happen, which I don't really have a problem with.
I have a horrible problem with it. I can't stand listening to it.
Well,
I mean, to me,
you
it's just all so mean. And well, let's say that I want to watch This Is Us, and I'm going to be subjected to political advertising every time there's an ad.
Well,
let's say that I want to watch a baseball game or a football game
all the time, don't you?
Yes, but I don't have to listen to the nastiness. It is different. The nastiness of political advertising is, to me, a nightmarish time of the year. Okay. I would prefer not to hear it at all. But it's interesting that she wrote that piece, and it's interesting that there is that point of view. I just don't agree with it.
I think it's a much better solution and much easier solution like legislatively. Amy Klobuchar has the legislation for political transparency in political advertising. If she got on board with this, it'd be a much easier way to actually pass legislation that we have for other types of political advertising, but not for online advertising.
Well, why would Facebook agree to no targeting in their advertising, since that's what their whole model is?
It is targeting. You have targeting. You just can't have micro-targeting. So you can target a state. You can target congressional districts. You can target city council districts if you're running for a local race. So there's targeting. It's just not, hyper targeting.
Well, leave me out of it.
All right.
So
just turn off the internet, BL. Just turn off the internet.
So on a happier note, Samsung, who have done some pretty funny stunts in the past, this is in best because of Samsung's response. It could be in worse because it's completely ridiculous. But Samsung had this idea that they would have a Samsung Selfie satellite, and it would be launched into space, and it involved a photo of Cara Delevingne that was taken on a Galaxy S10 Plus, and it was supposed to be the world's first selfie sent to space. And then users were going to be able to upload their selfies to a website for a chance to see them displayed on a screen of the Galaxy S10 5G on board this balloon, this satellite balloon. So unfortunately what happened was that this woman in Gratiot County, Michigan, heard a loud crash outside her farm this past weekend, and she discovered this large object in her backyard, and she said, "Unbelievable, look what just fell out of the sky." And 911, really had no idea, and she said, it's caught in our tree. So it's totally ridiculous, but no injuries happened, and the balloon was finally retrieved. And Samsung said, and this is why I have it in best, they told NBC, "We regret any inconvenience this may have caused." They claim the landing was planned and it happened in a selected rural area. They forgot to tell her about it, of course. But they were going to give everybody with a Samsung phone a chance to upload their selfie. And the images were going to be selected at random and captured using this unique view of Earth as a backdrop. And then the photo would be sent back down to Earth for its owner to share on social media. So what I liked is that the Samsung spokesperson in Europe, Benjamin Braun, said that our ethos is do what you can't. And the Samsung space selfie is just that. We continually break the boundaries of what is possible with innovation, and tonight's space selfie launch is no different, except that it crashed.
So it was a planned landing in someone's backyard.
Well, they forgot to tell her, so
no,
of course it wasn't planned.
It wasn't. Yeah, that's
of course it wasn't planned. And she was like, "Holy crap! This thing landed in. What is that?" And they called 911, and 911, we don't know.
I seriously, if they're going to be dropping satellites out of the sky, I wish Samsung would just stick with broken folding phones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny, though.
Yeah.
Imagine you hear this crash and you go outside and you're like, "What the hell is that?"
That would scare the hell out of me.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. So she called 911. Poor woman.
No.
And it was at night.
So
aliens.
So I enjoy video games, BL.
Yes, I do know that about you.
I always like innovative video games, and this is one of them. This is from the Gizmodo article by Yasina Funes, I think is how you pronounce it. Anyway, there's a video game developer named William Volk who has created a game that will show players how bad life can get if we don't address climate change. So it's
what a good idea.
The game's called The Climate Trail. And it's inspired by the classic video game Oregon Trail, and it challenges players to travel more than 1,000 miles north from Atlanta to Canada and it takes place in the apocalyptic future where everything is so screwed up that there's the climate trail is the only way to safety. You, as a player, you take a journey from Atlanta to Canada through the only route that's available that refugees can take to escape the deadly heat that is taking hold of the American South. So along the way, you need to figure out how to deal with hunger, with thirst, with heat waves, and massive tornado-spewing thunderstorms. It's a free game. It's available for download for Mac, Windows, or Linux on the desktop. It's in the Apple and Google Play Store for mobile. But I haven't played it yet, but it's a great premise, and I plan to play it, so we'll see.
Clever but sad.
Yeah. And you learn a lot. You learn a lot about climate change during the course of the game. So it's edutainment as well.
It's a really interesting idea.
Yeah.
You know, so this week, several Facebook employees, about 250 of them, which is kind of a drop in the bucket because they have 35,000 employees. But this is from a story in the New York Times by Mike Isaac, who used to be my editor when I wrote for Ad Age. He's at the New York Times now. And more than 250 Facebook employees sent a letter to Zuckerberg against the company's decision to let politicians post anything they want, even false lies, in ads on the site. And they asked Zuck to rethink the stance. They were obviously just a fraction of the employees, but Trump's campaign began circulating an ad on Facebook this month that made false claims about Joe Biden. And when Biden's campaign asked Facebook to remove the ad, they refused, saying ads from politicians were newsworthy and important for discourse. Elizabeth Warren, as we discussed in, I think it was episode 286, posted a false ad on Facebook, and she called them a disinformation for profit machine, which is basically how I see them. And the letter that the employees wrote suggested changes and actions that they could take to reduce the harm from these false claims. And they suggested changing the visual treatment for political ads, restricting some of the options for targeting, exactly what you were talking about before, and instituting spending caps for individual politicians. And their letter concluded, this is still our company. Well, good luck with that. It's not your company, but I'm glad that some people stood up.
Yeah, well, micro-targeting eliminated. I don't have much to add to that. I got an email, several actually, from Yahoo this past week, and it was an announcement that they are moving Yahoo Groups. Remember Yahoo Groups? Did you ever use them?
Yeah.
So they went from, I think they acquired a company called eGroups and turned them into Yahoo Groups, but
Internet old timers.
Yeah, message boards and so you get, for those who aren't familiar, Yahoo Groups, you can communicate and join a group and communicate on whatever topic the group is about, and you can communicate either via email or via web-based interface. So it's a web board and an email group in one. But this announcement said they're moving to email only. So it's basically a many-to-many listserv that it's turning into. The web content will eventually be deleted. And I put it in the best because just it seems to me it's another indication that email is becoming a more vital, trusted communications channel. That email only, there's a trend towards people moving towards email communications because of all the mistrust we're having in other platforms like social, especially. But this seems to be another move in that direction. I'm sure there has something to do with them. The infrastructure costs of maintaining web boards, and if there's not a lot of use in them, but they are seeing a lot of use in email via these groups, then that seems to be a significant indication of that trend.
I got those too, and Internet Old Timers has always been email only. And the thing about the message board thing is you have to remember to go there, and if you get email, you are likely to see it. So this brings me to bad news. Do you have Any more good news?
I have one more good news. This is a Minnesota-focused story. This is from Nicole Norfleet of the Star Tribune, who writes about the Minnesota Vikings, my favorite football team, who have debuted, the owners of the Vikings have debuted a new eSports franchise. Based on Norse mythology and the Vikings football brand, the name of the team, the esports team, is called Minnesota Rokkrs. They have a logo that has a menacing figure with a horned helmet and use the Vikings dark purple colors, so they're reflecting the brand of the Minnesota Vikings, but is a separate actual professional esports team. They're one of a dozen teams that will be playing in Activision Blizzard's new esports league for the first-person shooter Call of Duty, which is a favorite game of mine. But I put it in the marketing because it's interesting, because Minnesota Timberwolves basketball team, Minnesota United's soccer team have esports teams as well. And this is a growing trend. When I visited the Vikings training facility during training camp, I saw that they had a building that was for esports. So they are going to be holding tournaments on site. And this is a spectator sport now. Video games is a spectator sport. Back in 2005, I actually wrote about this with the introduction of Xbox Live. That it was only a matter of time before this would come to pass, and now it is. And it's just an interesting new development in immersive marketing, immersive entertainment, and there's going to be advertising, there's going to be a product placement, there's going to be all kinds of other marketing opportunities in this trend as well.
What are esports? Does it have live players?
So this is like watching video games, watching people play video games.
So there are not actual players?
No, they are actual players. They're teams of players. They coordinate and they play in first-person shooters. So they have a team of people who go up against other teams and shoot up in war games. But it is all broadcast, and there are people who watch it. It's like a spectator sport. It's like football.
Who's playing?
Professional people who make six figures playing video games. They're professional.
No kidding.
Yeah. They're serious professional. I don't think they're athletes. They call themselves athletes. I don't think that's
they're video game athletes. Yeah,
gamers. They're
good luck
professional
with your
games. One last one before we go to this is quick and this is cute. This is from USA Today's Joel Shannon, who did you see the hot dog boy on
Yeah, I did.
So there's the fourth grader who took a bet from his dad to wear a costume during his school photo ID. His dad put that photo on his Facebook page. It went viral, and Oscar Mayer noticed that virality and cashed in on it by doing a earned media layup. Basically, they gave the kid a lift to the movies with his friends in the Wienermobile, in the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. So
that's great.
They operate 6 of these hot dogs on wheels, and wanted to give him a special treat. So they sent the Wienermobile out to his friends. Obviously, there's a picture of the kid with the Wienermobile, and they earned a lot of earned media out of it just from sending the Wienermobile out to the kids. So
plus, it's sweet and funny.
It was. Yep.
Yeah. So on the other side of that. This was every year there's something like this at every holiday. This year, this was stupid, just bloody stupid of McDonald's. They had to apologize for, this is McDonald's in England, they had to apologize of all places but anyhow, for their Halloween themed dessert called Sunday Bloody Sunday. And unfortunately that references one of the deadliest episodes in the history of the Troubles in Northern Ireland. And this is from a Politico Europe story by Paul Dallison. And, of course, then they said they didn't mean it and blah, blah, blah. I mean, how stupid. Every year, there's somebody who does every holiday, somebody who does some tasteless, stupid ad, but Sunday, Bloody Sunday of all things.
It's true, but I mean, some of the stuff is... Somebody will find that's a bit of a little obscure history for even. I mean, I can
not
see
in England.
Yeah,
not in England where it happened. Believe me.
I mean, I get it, but also you have to give a break to. I'm a history buff. I think it's important for people to understand history and everything. But that story is like, I don't know that
Well,
a lot of people know that history.
I think it was bloody stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you got?
This is bloody stupid. This is from BuzzFeed's Nicole Wynn, who writes about Amazon Choice, which is a program that Amazon has that is designed. It puts a label on products that is designed to convince customers that it's highly rated by Amazon and well-priced product. In fact, she cites a number in the article that there's a threefold increase in sales that have products with that designation. But many of the Amazon Choice products that are sold by third parties have inflated ratings and feature glowing reviews that are written by customers that have been promised gift cards or free products by the sellers in exchange for 5-star ratings. So incentivizing ratings aren't new. I mean, third-party sellers have
Especially
been
on
using
Amazon.
email to ask people for reviews and everything. But asking people for reviews is entirely different from offering gifts for those reviews and providing, financial incentives or free product for that. So the distinction is that these Amazon Choice things appear to customers as Amazon verifying the quality of the
And
products
recommending
and
them.
recommending them, and often these are shoddy products. So yeah, buyer beware still out there. That's something that I think Amazon needs to fix.
Wow, that's nasty. That really is. And there are a great number of those Amazon products, Amazon Choice things that come up, and they come up at the top of the listing
Yep,
in every case,
yeah.
So this is another thing that happens all the time. This is from a Target marketing story by Heather Fletcher. And, Joe Biden's campaign forgot to buy some very fundamental URLs. So Trump's campaign bought one of them. So last Saturday night, the domain name for the Biden camp had an initiative that was aimed at Hispanics. It's called Todos con Biden. And unfortunately, they didn't buy todosconbiden.com. On their site, which inexplicably is called go.joebiden.com, which a lot of people are going to figure out, in itself a dumb name since nobody searches for go, anyone, but www.todosconbiden.com takes you to a site where it says, oops, Joe say, this is my Spanish, Joe say, olvido de los Latinos. Oops, Joe forgot about Latinos. Joe is all talk, and that's a Trump site. And then there are two buttons that read Vamos and Let's Go, and they direct you to Latinos for Trump. So incredibly, this is the incredible part, Joe Biden for President.com is available. What? Not only it's available for $488 on GoDaddy in case you want to buy it. Not only is Joe Biden for President.com available, but so are several other related URLs that his campaign did not buy. He also must not have bought BidenForPresident.com because that leads to a page of links to negative articles about him. So all I can say about that, about Joe Biden is, okay, boomer.
God.
Is that incredible?
Yeah. I don't know.
Joe Biden for president. Isn't that the first thing you would
Preemptive
buy?
marketing. I've been saying this forever. Like,
oh my God.
.com thyself. Go find all you, especially if you're a politician. Oh my God.
Oh my God. It happens every time. It happened to Trump last time. And I bought Marco Rubio. I bought one of his, I bought his mobile URL, and I bought it for nothing the last time. They never did come and offer me $1 million for it, but I figured maybe they would. But I mean,
uses .mobi.
what the hell? They should still own it. If they were my client, I'd tell them you should own them all.
Yeah.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know about that. So are we on to?
I do not have shiny stuff, so go ahead with yours.
One. This is pretty cool. This is from Google Webmaster Central blog. Maria Mova, the product manager of search and content ecosystem, wrote the post, and it is about SiteKit, which is Google's new official WordPress plugin. So SiteKit is allows you to easily verify ownership through the Search Console. It's convenient and easy access to relevant stats directly in the WordPress dashboard, so you don't have to go to your Google Analytics to see the stats. It's just right in the dashboard, which is, I mean, I'm in analytics all the time, so it doesn't bother me.
A lot of people
somebody
aren't.
who's, yeah, and having that right in front of you and in your WordPress where you're creating your content is nice and convenient. It has cross products insights, and this is what I'll be interested to see how it's implemented. I just found this, so I haven't tried it yet. Google Search Console, Google Analytics, Page Speed Insights, AdSense are all combined into a single dashboard. So that could be really convenient. And then, of course, there's no source code editing for implementation. Of course, that's probably why I wouldn't use it, because I like using Google Tag Manager, and I want to implement it the way I want to implement it. So I would probably edit the source code. But looks like a handy new tool that a lot of people should probably be taking advantage of. So there you go.
Yeah, I read about that this week. That sounds like something really worth checking out.
Yeah.
So that brings us to your daily numbers, Dave.
All right. Since we have talked about politics a lot this episode, let's end it on some political numbers. This is from TechCrunch's Sarah Perez, and it's via David Berkowitz's serial marketer newsletter, who writes Sarah writes about Pew Research that found that 69% of people have never tweeted about politics or tweeted about the topic. So of Twitter users, obviously, there's 69% who haven't tweeted about politics, or just tweeted about it once. But across all tweets from U.S. adults, only 13% of tweets were focused on national politics. Only 22% of U.S. adults even had a Twitter account, and of those, only 31% are defined as political tweeters. And these are people who have tweeted at least 5 times and have posted at least twice about politics during the study period. Within the broader group of political tweeters, just 6% are defined as prolific, meaning they post at least 10 tweets and at least 25% of their tweets mention national politics. So this small subset then goes on to create 73% of all tweets from US adults on the subject of national politics. A majority of the prolific political tweeters, 55%, say they identify as either very liberal or very conservative. Among the non-political tweeting crowd, only 28% chose a more polarized label for themselves. So the vast majority of political Twitter is very conservative or very liberal, and it's a very skewed view of political conversation. So again, buyer beware. Keep that in mind when you're viewing political Twitter, that it's hardly representative of the American populace as a whole.
That's absolutely true. There's apropos that this is a Pew Research thing. They had another poll that was an interactive one that very cleverly done. They asked, would you discuss your feelings about Trump at a dinner party? And, if you thought that other people didn't agree with you. And so you got to answer all these questions about how you would handle it. And then in the results, it showed what other people said, and it showed how you stood up to that. So it's an interactive result. It was the first time I'd seen that, and I thought it was really very cleverly done. Did you see it?
No, I haven't seen it, but that's how Cambridge Analytica qualified voters, put them into categories according to their psychological profiles. So who knows?
This was more like
I don't think he was doing that to you. I don't.
No, this was more like a game, like kind of a social question. But anyway, that brings us to the end of episode 287 of the Beyond Social Media Show, which we've been doing since 2013. Can you believe it? Yeah. And you can find us by searching Beyond Social Media Show. And you can ask your Google Home or whatever those things called, play Beyond Social Media Show. And you can get links to everything that we talked about, including the original stories and the videos at beyondsocialmediashow.com/287. And I'm here with David Erickson, who's on Twitter as D Erickson. He's on Instagram as DE Erickson, and he's on YouTube as estrategy.com, and he blogs at the wonderful estrategy e-strategyblog.com. And I'm BL Ochman. I'm on Twitter as What's Next. I'm blogging at What's Next Blog. I'm on YouTube as guess what? What's Next Blog. I'm on Instagram as NYC Tap Dancer. And Beyond Social Media Show, again, beyondsocialmediashow.com. And look for us on Twitter at BS Media Show. And we'll be back next week.
Thanks for watching.